Hello and welcome back to NCSY Pulse, brought to you by NCSY Alumni. My name is John Ackerman, and I am sitting here joined live from Israel with my very good friend, Dylan Vermeire. Welcome, Dylan.
Thank you so much, John. Total pleasure and honor to be here.
It is really cool to be with you. Dylan and I go way back. Dylan was a 4-year Judah Fellow, I believe, at University of Missouri, Mizzou.
Yeah, one of the founders.
You are one of the founders, and I think you were the first 4-year fellow that we ever had, brought to us by Rabbi Mike Ravinsky. So shouts to Rabbi Ravinsky, but we will we'll get to him. I want to hear a little bit about your relationship with Rabbi Ravinsky, but Dylan, catch us up. What are you up to? Where are you now? But catch us up a little bit. What are you up to these days?
Amazing, John. So after graduating college in 2022, I was working full time and I was learning at night with an Alumni affiliated rabbi in St. Louis. And then one day I called up the Honorable Mike Ravinsky, said I need to catch up, got to schmooze a little bit, got to figure out some life questions. And he said, I asked him if he wants to get coffee. He said, I can't get coffee, but I'm going on a road trip. It's going to be 7 hours in a car with me. You want to come? I said,
Wow.
Absolutely. So he asked me on this car ride a simple question. He said, how are you going to teach your kids how to be Jewish if you don't know how to be Jewish? I said, Rabbi, I'm a Judah fellow. I know how to be Jewish.
Yeah.
And he asked me just the most basic halakhic questions you could ever imagine. And I had no idea. I should have said it depends, and he would have thought I'm a genius. But now that I know, but he said, see, you don't know anything. You have to go to yeshiva. And I said, Rabbi, you're right. So I quit my job and I'm in Or Sameach now in Jerusalem. And it's the best decision I've ever made.
Wow. Outstanding. Or Sameach. How long have you been in Or Sameach for?
I've been here for about a year. I came on a JLE, Jewish Learning Experience trip last summer.
Right.
And of summer of 23, and now it's November of 24. So
Wow.
things gotten out of hand.
It was so nice. And before we started recording, you mentioned to me that you're literally sitting learning Torah in Or Sameach from 9:30 in the morning to 10:30 at night, which is
7:30 chakras. Can't forget about that.
Oh, 7:30 chakras, right? Well,
yeah.
Of course. So you're learning in Israel. You're a proud Mizzou alum.
I'm a very proud Missourian. I'm telling you, I've been all over the world, and I love Missouri. I've been to Switzerland. I've been to Israel, South America. St. Louis, Missouri is the best Jewish community I've ever been a part of.
I love it.
I've ever seen. It's amazing.
I love it, and we are proud out-of-towners in arms. I grew up in Minneapolis, Minnesota, so I totally get the out-of-town vibe. So, Dylan, bring us back a little bit. How did you get involved in JSU and NCSY? Give us your superhero origin story.
Oh, such a good story. So basically, it all starts before I was born. This is kind of an interesting story.
Sure.
My parents met later in life, and my mom could not get pregnant for many years. Years and years, they tried, nothing worked. And they just assumed that was the din, the fate of the situation, no children. And a part of that is that the understanding between my parents is that if they had kids, since my father's not Jewish, that I would be raised, Christian, whatever, not Jewishly. And one day my mom said to my dad, you know what, I've been doing some thinking, and if we have kids, I would like them to be raised with a Jewish identity. Not religious, not like four mitzvahs, but, Jewish, whatever that meant. And my dad said, okay. And almost immediately after that conversation, they found out that they were pregnant with me. So my mom had me when she was 43. And on my 8th day, a kosher bris from one of the best moils in the United States, Rabbi Mike Ravinsky.
No way.
Yep. Okay, so then, fast forward 17 years, I'm a senior in high school. My mom signs me up for an extra credit class at the Jewish Community Center, 35 minutes from our house, about Israel. And I go, and I'm taking this class. It's for high schoolers. It's like a JSU affiliated kind of a thing. And I'm in the class, and after the class, the teacher stops me and says, "Who are you?" Like, I run all these clubs for high school, public school students. You're in high school? You're public school? Like, I was like, yeah, I'm in public school. He goes, where? So, I live out in Lake St. Louis, and I go to Wentzville Holt High School. He said, oh, I did a bris about 17 years ago in Lake St. Louis. And I said,
No.
well, there's only one Jew in Lake St. Louis, so it's got to be me. So we did some cross-referencing, and Mike Ravinsky's the one that taught this class.
Oh my God.
This man has been there through it all.
Yeah, apparently.
John, if you thought you and I went way back, Ravinsky's got nothing on you. Sorry to say.
Wow.
But so then he says to me after the end of the course, he says, "Do you want to go to Israel this summer for 4 weeks with NCSY?" And I said, "Absolutely. Next question. Sign me up." And so that summer, I came to Israel on TJJ Bus 5, Midwest, the best. And that was my first exposure to like Orthodox, real Judaism.
Wow. Do you remember at this point, going that far back, who was the bus director on TJJ?
Mike Kahn. He lives near Modine. I forget the name of the town, but sure. I'm still in good contact with him. I have his guitar in my room. He's a great guy. So yeah, I've been in Israel since last summer, and it's been fantastic. And that was my introduction to NCSY. And then when I went to college, then I went to college after TJJ, and this is when the Judah Fellowship was being founded.
Yep.
And once again, Mike Ravinsky told somebody to reach out to me about this and said, you have to do it. And I said, okay.
I remember that because I was the one that Rabbi Ravinsky reached out to. I was with him at the NCSY Staff Con, and he said, are you guys full? And it was sort of like one of those things where it's a first-year program, so you're never really full at that point. But I wanted to be, kind of play it cool. Yeah, we're pretty full, but I don't know why. Who do you have? It's sort of like when you hear a lot of times people will be like, when they're of dating age, and people say, "Oh, are you seeing anyone? I have somebody in mind," and it's like, "Oh, I don't know if I'm really dating right now, but who is it?"
Right.
Because maybe then I will be,
I know. Somebody asked me this the other day. I was at a Shabbos table. And they were like, "Are you date?" They literally said, "Are you dating?" And I was like, I said no, and they're like, "Oh," and then I said, "But I have a resume ready just in case."
Just in case. It's like, I'm not dating, but I might be in like an hour.
Unless.
Unless. It depends who the name is. Yeah, tell me what she's like. So I was speaking to Rabbi Ravinsky, and I, kind of playing it cool. And he's like, no. You don't understand. I have this guy, and he is going to blow you away. You got to talk to him. And I remember calling you. I think maybe even we called you together from StaffCon. And the beginning of an amazing friendship. We've been close. I think that must have been 6 years ago.
Yeah, it was a while ago.
Something like that.
2017.
2018. Okay, so you're in this club. You meet Rabbi Ravinsky, and you come to the Judah Fellowship. Great, and you're a 4-year Judah Fellow. But you went to Israel 4 years later. So tell us about the in-between. You were at the University of Missouri. I know you love Missouri, but as you know, on college campuses across the country, anti-Semitism has shot through the roof.
Skyrocketed.
What was your experience like? You graduated a couple years ago, so pre-October, October 7th. Right. So what was it like for you? What was your experience at Mizzou?
Thank God things were actually pretty parv at Mizzou. There was nothing too crazy. Mm-hmm. Occasionally you would have posters go up that would say, Jews did 9/11 or something like ridiculous. And then also being that when I was at Mizzou, I was the president of the Chabad on Campus organization.
Oh, wow.
And I did a lot of things that were pro-Israel, Jewish events, things like that. And occasionally we would have pro-Israel speakers, such as a woman who was a victim of a terrorist attack, soldiers, movie screenings, different things. And oftentimes we would have protesters. And on campus, this is one bizarre thing about University of Missouri. In the middle of campus, there's a big concrete circle, and it's called Speaker Circle. and it's called the Free Speech Zone, which really is America as the Free Speech Zone, but for some reason
You would
on college
think.
campuses, on
Right.
college campuses, you know, free speech can be okay,
Yeah.
whatever.
Tricky.
And exactly, so they have this little area where you can go, you can say whatever you want. Like nobody's going to stop you, and a lot of times they would have like the Palestinian groups pop up and different things. And there's a guy that lives very close to Mizzou in Columbia who is an amazing pro-Israel advocate. Shout out Dan Swindell. He has a blog. He is a super genius when it comes to Israel history and like all the arguments. He and I'd call him. I'd say they're here, and he would come to campus. We'd set up a table next to these guys with like ZOA flyers and all kinds of information, and it was great. And then sometimes we'd set up like a Israel book fair in the middle of Speaker Circle, and we'd have sponsors donate tons of money. We'd buy tons of books about Israel that Jews and non-Jews, just ordinary people could read and just familiarize themselves with Israel. And sometimes we'd have people walk by and like yell something, but really that was the extent of the anti-Semitism on campus. But I will say after October 7th, some of the Jewish students built a Shabbos table in Speaker Circle for the hostages, an empty Shabbos table, like a beautiful set, everything. Within 24 hours, it was destroyed. It's like it's what happened at Speaker Circle. But Missouri, like Washington University, with these big riots and things, they shut it down very quickly, and it never got to what it was in the Northeast, anything like that. Thank God. Like, yeah, anti-Semitism, not really my number one experience at Mizzou. It was very positive. So
that does sound positive. And how did you get to be the president of Chabad?
No, so first of all, how did I even get to Chabad is the better question. I was very inspired after coming back from the NCSY trip. This Chabad rabbi, oh, I have such a good story for you. The Chabad rabbi just shows up at my apartment with like a welcome bag. He's got this big beard. Like, I don't know who you are, but like, we're going to be friends. And
you're into it.
So
okay.
The previous president had graduated. They needed somebody. And the rabbi was like, listen, we need somebody. You obviously know what you're talking about. You're in. And I'm like, I have no idea what I'm talking about, but I guess I'm in.
But why not? Let's go.
So that's what happened. Then so this is freshman year. I didn't know anybody at my college. I am brand new. I come from like kind of a ruralish suburbia town. Tons of people now. And I get this phone call, 2-3 weeks later from the Chabad rabbi. And I've been going to him on Friday night for Shabbos. So we schmoozed a little bit. We don't have a great relationship because we just met. But he goes, Dylan, I need your help. I'm sure. He said, I need your help with a big mitzvah. I'm like, a big mitzvah? Okay. What is it? He goes, I need you to help me bury a body. I'm like, Rabbi, what's going on? He said, just come over to my house. I'll explain on the way. And I'm thinking, what is going on? Okay, so I go, and he explains to me he's a Cohen, and, he can't go into the cemetery. A Jewish woman died. You need to do this special, like, Jewish burial. And I was like, wow, there's instructions for not only for when you live, but also for when you die. Like, this is so interesting. So that's really what led to my relationship with Chabad on campus and with the Chabad rabbi there. And from then on, we were just very tight. I went there every Friday night for Shabbos. And then during the week, he gave like Torah classes and all kinds of different events going on. So hand in hand, he and I ran the show. It was fantastic.
So you go to Chabad. You're an NCSY Judah Fellow, which was a fantastic experience for us.
It was great. Monday night, I always
Monday
look
nights.
forward to.
That's right. Monday night. It's still Monday nights. It's so funny. An old friend of ours, Nicole Chermak, who used to work with you and I at the, of course, on the Judah Fellowship, will once in a while reach out to me, text me on a Monday night, and just wish me luck for the Monday night meeting, knowing that, they say the more things change, the more they stay the same. And so it's kind of fun that everybody's got this inside joke that we have kind of forever. So post college, you went to Israel and then you came back. And I remember you kind of giving me like snippets of what it was like when you came back, and you were working at a kosher deli in St. Louis. Tell us about the in between. So you went to Israel after college. You came back. I know you ultimately wanted back up, but what was it like coming back from Israel and now this sort of newfound, we'll call it newfound Jewish energy that you've got,
Totally.
and coming back to your hometown and figuring things out? What was that experience like for you?
Yeah, it was very different, but I was like, one thing that's very important if you become religious or if you want to make that leap is you're still who you are. Like at the end of the day, I'm still Dylan, and I just do things a little differently. I maybe dress a little differently, but I still love fishing. I still love doing the same things I did. So, I came home after October 7th. The war. My mom came to visit me. She landed like that the week of, I think, October 1st. And, she hadn't been here in 40 years. A war breaks out. She says, "You're coming home with me." I said, "No, I'll stay." She goes, "Listen, you're coming home with me." So I knew I was going to be on a flight. And yeah, so I landed back in St. Louis. Crazy story. First night home, totaled my car. But turns out that God runs the world, in case you may have not known. And the exact amount that insurance paid me was the remainder of my student loans. So worked perfectly. Thanks God.
No way. That's crazy.
Yeah, it was like unbelievable. So thanks. And then, so I knew I was going to be home for a short-ish amount of time until things in Israel calmed down and my mom would let me go back. But I didn't really know how long, and I knew I had to do something to keep up the progress I built.
Sure.
So there's only one kosher restaurant in St. Louis. It's a little deli. I walk in, I told them my situation. They go, "All right, we'll see you tomorrow. We open at 9. Like, okay,
Amazing.
fantastic. So actually, the best thing that could have happened for a few reasons. One, I got kosher food for a great discount. And since there's only one place, I met the entire St. Louis Jewish community because that's where everybody goes.
That's where everyone's going to go. Yeah.
They see this new guy, white shirt, wearing a yarmulke. Nobody's seen me before. And it was a great way to get instantly. I had a place to go every week for Shabbos. I had too many invites almost. And it worked perfectly. So then I traveled some. I came to the Yarche Kala in Connecticut, which was fantastic. And then in the end of January, I came back to Israel and kept learning.
It's so cool just to hear the journey, and you really do have all these incredible steps, and it feels like every step of the way there's a crazy Dylan story. Like there's no simple,
I have so
easy.
Many stories.
I know you do, and it's like I feel like every time you and I speak, like we go through the "Hey, how are you?" and then we get to John. You're never gonna believe like what just happened. Like,
no, I know. So I had to go home this past summer for a little bit, and I family bar mitzvahs and family reunion that I was in charge of planning that I took on before I knew I was going to become a Orthodox Jew, and I kind of really backed out of it, so I had to be there. I already had a ticket back home, and I said, "God, I can't leave yeshiva yet. Please help me find a way to come back to yeshiva." And a little bit later that day, I was like, I just have to book a flight before I even leave to get back here. So I booked a flight. I put on my credit card. And mind you, this is when the only airline flying at the time is El Al.
Right.
And they're quite expensive.
Yeah.
I was somehow able to find a flight that was pretty normal priced and exactly when I needed it. And I prayed, "God, please help me pay for this," because I really didn't want to.
Yeah,
and
I hear that.
Within 24 hours, I was able to find somebody through NCSY that helped me sponsor my flight, and now I've been back and learning since. So
beautiful.
It all worked out. So I'm going to be here for about another year.
Wow. I was going to say, so what's next in the saga of Dylan Vermeire? What's your plan after this?
Coming up, basically, right now I'm in a very intense program. It's like I said, 9:30 a.m., 10:30 p.m. You're learning pretty much all day with a lunch break and like an afternoon break with dinner in between. And from then from then I'm gonna be here for a year and just really get like right now we're doing very intense Gemara learning.
Right.
No art scroll, no vowels. It's like you learn
You're in,
Gemara.
man.
I'm 100% in. There is no like art. They call art scroll muksa here. Like you can't even touch it. So
Wow.
yeah, it
Um,
is. It's very intense, and I'm gonna be here for about another year. I was gonna be here for the summer, but after just going through the holiday, like till next summer, and after going through all these holidays, I was like, it'd be such a shame to leave right before next year's holidays. So might as well just stay for those
you
holidays.
you might as well. It's like whenever you hear people are doing work in their house, it's like a famous phrase that contractors use. Well, since you're doing this, you're fixing the
Might as
bathroom. You
well.
might as well do your kitchen because we're already in the house. So
Right.
you're
It's like
you're
when you get an
in.
oil change. They're like,
Yeah,
we also
exactly. You
noticed,
might as well change your
but when they
tires.
say that, I'm just like, shh, I don't want to know.
So you are quite accomplished. You went from public school to University of Missouri, and now spending multiple years in an advanced yeshiva track. I'm just so curious. This is an NCSY show.
Of course,
Is
my
there?
favorite.
Can you trace any of this back to NCSY? Was there ever a moment that you think?
100%.
So where is that? What is that? What was it about your time in NCSY that helped? Oh wow, you do it.
John, not a day goes by that I don't think about NCSY.
Wow, that's beautiful for the podcast crew who did not see what Dylan was holding up. As I'm asking the question, Dylan holds up to the camera an NCSY alumni phone back. That's awesome. That's like so right on key there. That was great. Was
Listen,
there
I know my
anything though?
things.
You was there an experience or was there something specific in NCSY that you look at and you say, it was because of this, whether it was Mike Ravinsky or it was the Judah Fellowship or TJJ, was there something specific that you look at and say, it was kind of that piece, or maybe it was just sort of the combination, but what was it about the NCSY experience that kind of carried you? Because yes, you did NCSY in high school for a year. Yes, you did TJJ for a summer. And yeah, you did the Judah Fellowship and credit where credit is due, but you were in college for 4 years. What was it about NCSY that sort of like got you to the next step?
Okay, I'm gonna tell you three things. These
Okay,
are
let's
crazy,
hear it. All right.
as usual. Okay, when I came to Israel on TJJ the very first time, I got to Israel. We landed in Ben Gurion Airport, and I took the wrong suitcase off baggage claim.
No, you
I
did
didn't
not.
I did not know
Of
this at the
course you did.
time,
Of
but
course you did.
then we drove like some crazy hodunk town in the middle of the north, and we're at some airport. I'm exhausted. We just flew, got on a bus. It was like ridiculous. Then I opened this suitcase, what looks just like my suitcase,
Yeah.
and it's like full of kids' toys and like stuff. Somebody else had brought all this stuff from America, and I was like, oh my goodness.
Oh. It was one of
And
those people that when they asked, did you pack your bag? They lied. And
yeah,
they're like,
yeah,
yeah, totally. I
yeah.
packed the bag myself.
No, it was just bizarro like kids' toys, and I was so upset because I was so ready to like get ready for bed and whatever.
Sure.
And I didn't have any clothes, and I'm just like homeless. I felt homeless just on this
Right.
TJJ bus for a few days until I got my bag back. But I would think like people would like if I did that back home or whoever, people would like make fun of you or give you a hard time. It was nothing but support. It was like, I'm so sorry, like, you know, some of the advisors like would buy clothes for me or like they would lend me their stuff or just like
Wow.
toiletries. Everybody got together to like make the toiletry kit for me. So it was just really like heartwarming. That was my first time doing anything like this. So that was crazy. Then, one of the talks we had about on the TJJ trip was about like dating and that conversation of like dating for marriage and all these things
Sure.
really stuck with me. That was the first time I really, you do things and you're just copy and pasting what other people around you are doing. So growing up
Right.
in a public school system, you're just, you like go out with a girl, like doesn't work, you break up, you find another girl, you go out XYZ, and or like you see people get married, they get divorced, like you don't really know what you're doing. And we had this really deep conversation, like a little breakout room like outside, the sun was going down, and it really taught me about like thinking about what you're doing before you do it. So
Right.
that was an amazing experience. And then we cannot forget Rabbi Lashak.
Oh,
Rabbi
yes.
Lashak, I'm telling you, from Israel and then all the way like through college, he would do these like online Zoom learning classes every couple weeks,
Yep.
and going to those and just learning about these really deep like ideas of angels and demons, soulmates. It really gave me an insight that I had never heard before from anywhere else, and like kind of opened that box of there's a whole world out there of the spiritual that I didn't know about. And he put it in a really fun, simple way for somebody who didn't know anything. So
Yeah.
that's a main thing. Then the Judah Fellowship, Monday night learning, having different people, educators who were from, business, or our rabbis, different, maybe NCSY alumni who are now working for NCSY, different things, like made me realize there's Orthodox people like all over. They're very successful, going from not religious to religious, and it was very interesting to hear all these different worldviews that I'd never been exposed to before. And I always felt like a strong connection to Jews. Like no matter where I go, if I see like a
Sure.
Jew, I'm like, love this guy. So, so yeah, that was just that, like having the Monday night meetings, learning, and then being responsible for other Jews, both with like running post NCSY like alumni events on campus, and then with
Right.
Chabad. Like I really became part of a little community more and more as things went on. First with, the class, then with, NCSY in Israel on TJJ, then with the community with the Judah Fellows, and then it just grew and grew.
Wow. You have such a great story, and I feel like your story is just starting. Like you're
It's totally
even with all
starting.
of this, you're right at the beginning. But let me ask you a question. So you go through all this, TJJ, NCSY, the Judah Fellowship, 4 years at Mizzou. You're in Israel. You're learning in Israel. What's your favorite part about being in Israel right now? Because clearly this wasn't something I don't think you were expecting, growing up. So
Was
tell
not
us
at
one
all
thing
what
now
I
that
was
you're,
expecting.
yeah.
I'll tell you one of my favorite things, and then I'll tell you my other favorite thing. One is, John, do you believe in time travel?
I am a huge sci-fi nerd, so
I
totally
know, I
believe in
know.
time travel.
Okay,
Yes.
I'm telling you with 100% certainty, time travel is 100% possible. And I'll tell you
Okay.
how.
Tell me how.
Nobody else agrees with me on this, but it's totally how I feel. When I pick up a Gemara, I'm literally traveling back in time, and I'm in Babylon, and I'm hanging out with Rava and Abaye, and we are learning about how Judaism works. Like,
I love
it's
it.
unbelievable. It's
It's real.
unbelievable. It's so real. How can, like, there's no other thing where you open it up and you're reading about these people thousands of years ago doing the same things that you're doing today. And they're showing you why they do it. A lot of people ask why this, why that. That's what I'm figuring out all day. And it's a really deep, complex puzzle. It's a challenge like no other, but it's a time machine. You literally have the ability to go back. You're there, you're learning about what makes Jews Jews, and there's nothing better.
Love it.
So that's
Love it.
that's like my favorite thing. Also, the community here at Orsamak, they curate young guys from around the US and even around the world. We have South African guys here, some British guys, a Norwegian guy, they curate a great group of young men, and the community here is incredible. The rabbis here are incredible. They're Harvard educated, Wharton. They know both the non-Jewish world, how it works, and a lot of them are also like Baal Tshuva themselves. They know how to be
Sure.
there, support you. I mean, there's nothing I could ask for an improvement in any way.
Love it. Love it. Is there something, first of all, big shouts to Or Sameach, incredible place.
Totally.
And so thrilled that you have that you found your place there. What has been maybe the most surprising thing to you now that you're there?
Ooh, that's a great question. Surprising
Oh, thank you.
things.
Yeah. You're in
That's
Israel. What
crazy.
surprised you the most about your whole experience? Could be
I think how,
food, it could be the yeshiva, it could be culture.
I think that most surprising thing, first of all, Sukkot is bizarre. Sukkot is so weird. You're like looking around, you're like, it's normal when I do it, but you guys all look totally crazy, shaking shaking stuff around.
Yeah.
But um I think I've surprised myself with like what that I'm still, I still have my non-Jewish friends back home. I still talk to them almost every day. You know, a lot of guys here, they feel like maybe they have to leave some of that behind. I feel like I'm surprised, one, by how long I've been here. Did not expect a 3 month trip to turn into over a year trip, but yeah, I mean, the fact that this is where I want my life to go, and I've seen other people in perspective. I mean, being being Jewish in this way makes you change your whole perspective on everything, and I think that maybe that's the most surprising thing. The way um, a Torah perspective makes you see the world is very different than another, like the maybe non religious way of seeing the world. Of,
Right.
oh, if I use this person's pencil, is that stealing? If I don't ask them, or oh, just a little soap, in the shower, I'm out. Is that stealing? Like, there's so
Right.
many things you have to think about, and not to go crazy about it, be normal, but the way you view how the world works, and you know how everything interacts with each other, one little action can have such big ramifications, and one big action may not have such big ramifications. It's just very complicated, but it's very surprising how the world works.
Yeah, no, absolutely it is. A couple more questions for you, and then I'll let you go, Dylan. So,
Absolutely.
first of all, you've really gone through, I want to say the system, you've gone through multiple systems here. If you could sit down with somebody who's just going to start their JSU or their NCSY experience, or their experience on college, or maybe their experience at Or Sameach, but you had the opportunity to find somebody at one of these kind of like life points that you were at, and you're
hmm
able to give them one piece of advice from your adventure, what would it be?
Okay, the best piece of advice would be ask ask lots of questions, and there's no such thing as a stupid question, because a lot of times when you ask a question, you can just say something out loud and you can realize, oh, I understand now. You might come to the realization on your own. And also, if you don't understand something, it's so worth it to get to the answer or get
For sure.
closer to the answer. Let's say you're trying to figure out something, a question, if I should do this or if I should do that, if I should go here, go there for college, if I should go to Israel or not after college, or before college. Like, ask questions. Find a mentor, go to a rabbi, go to somebody that you're close to. It could be your parents. Just ask as many questions, get as much information as you can, and don't just go with the flow. Also say yes to as many opportunities. Don't think, oh, it's going to be this, it's going to be that. I'm scratching what I said. This is my number one piece of advice. Say
Sure.
yes to opportunity. If I had not said yes to taking a 7 hour car ride with a rabbi, I wouldn't be here today. If I didn't say yes to taking a job I wasn't qualified for, I wouldn't have gotten the job. You know, there's so many things that I've said yes to. Oh, I'm tired, I don't want to do it. No, you have to be
Right.
reasonable. But saying yes just, opens so many doors. People like that don't say yes. They no, they make excuses. I'm telling you, they're really hurting themselves. Say yes to things, get out there, push yourself. It doesn't matter where you are. Like, if somebody asks you to do something, help them, that could be the beginning of an amazing relationship. It could be, a rabbi asks you to take a car ride or get coffee with them. If somebody's reaching out to you, go for it. If you want to reach
Yeah.
out or do something, just go for it. It sounds
Love it.
it sounds cliche, like everybody says go for it, but say yes. I'm telling you,
Yeah, but you know
it
what?
rocks.
Things that are cliche typically are cliche for a reason, because usually they're good
They work.
advice, or they work. Exactly. Exactly. All right. As we wrap up here, Dylan, is there somebody that you want to give a shout out to, someone you want to thank for helping you get to where you are today?
Um, Definitely. There's so many people. The whole journey, if you think back, it's so unreal that the only way for it to be possible is through God. So that, I mean, it took me a while to get to that realization, but that's one of the things. I want to thank you, John. You're a big part. We've been
Thank you.
together for so long. You'll be at my wedding one day, and
I'm Maine. I can't wait.
it's gonna be fun. Then, Mike Ravinsky, he's been such a crucial part. I'll tell you, Rabbi Lishak, I was going through something really hard in my life when I was in college, and he helped me tremendously, like figure out. He didn't tell me what to do. He helped me come to the realization on my own of what I had to do in my decision making and going about things. And, Avrami Lapine, Chabad rabbi at University of Missouri. I'm telling you, I'll tell you a quick story, something amazing
Sure.
that's happening right now at the University of Missouri. There are a typical, when I was at University of Missouri, we'd get about 10 to 15 people on a Friday night consistently. 10 to 15, right. Sometimes it changed. Okay. Rabbi Lapine, when he was a child, his mother was killed in Crown Heights. An unbelievable story, very famous Chabad story. And when I was at Mizzou, he decided to build a mikvah, the only mikvah in the central Missouri area, in his mother's honor. And they're almost done. Now there is a giant mikvah that looks like 770 right off campus. It's pretty amazing.
Wow. Very cool.
And they're almost done. And just watching this whole project has been unbelievable. Now University of Missouri, Mizzou Chabad is getting at like 40, 50 people every Friday night. It's
Very
growing.
cool.
I'm so happy to see it. A lot of Jews are getting more involved with things. So it just in general, people are, I see the tides are turning towards Judaism. People are finding out with all this anti-Semitism that the only real family they have to stick together is with these Jews. So, it's just fantastic to see the giant mishpachat coming together.
Amazing. Love it. All right, Dylan, this has been really wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us. It's so good to see you. So good to see that you're doing really well. And I'm looking forward to that wedding. I'm waiting for the invitation. As soon as I get it, I'll be there for sure.
Amazing.
And
Amazing.
looking forward to.
Trust me, I can't. I'm excited too.
You can't wait.
When I get the invitation, I'll be very happy.
Amazing. Can't wait. This has been a blast, Dylan. I can't wait to speak to you again soon. Everybody, thank you so much for joining NCSY Pulse, powered by NCSY Alumni. You can find us on Instagram at NCSY Pulse, and we will speak to you all soon. All right.
Amazing.
Thanks,
Bye, John. Thank you.